So welcome back to the channel and a little bit different type of review we're doing today. And I don't even know if today is a review. This is not a Tesla accessory, but it is an electronic transportation device. This is the InMotion V14 50S. This is a new wheel out by InMotion, and up until now, I've never ridden anything with suspension or anything off-road or anything with any kind of range. I've been on the 16S for the last year and a half and just kind of fell in love with riding electric unicycles. So in this video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of talk about why I chose the V14, and we're gonna unbox it. But a few things to keep in mind if you're new here looking at EUC content. I'm not new to YouTube, but I'm definitely new to EUCs. I am not some big reviewer for these guys. I am a total amateur, and if you're gonna watch me on this channel, you have to understand I am not an expert. All my videos will be of me learning to ride these kinds of things and screwing up a ton and just really having some fun and seeing what something like this is capable of. I did partner up with eWheels here on the channel because I think they have incredible customer service and they did a lot with helping me pick this out. Plus, I did purchase my last wheel from them. And like so many of you, after spending so much time reviewing and watching YouTube videos, and especially spending time talking to guys at eWheels, specifically Jason, I decided to go with the V14. So let's get it unboxed. So if you've been in the market for a while and been looking at this thing, you're probably wondering the same thing that I did, which is what's the right one to get? Should I get the Extreme, the Patent? Which from my research kind of showed that they were the ones that were really in the closest price range. Of course, everyone's talking about the Lynx, but that's another like $1,200. So to me, that's not even comparable to this. It's like, yes, you can always buy better, but of course you're gonna pay for that. So my question is, why not this? If I'm not gonna pay over 4,000 American dollars, what can I get and how happy can I be? And because I'm in Washington with all the water in the mud here all the time, something that is actually rated for waterproof made a lot of sense. See, this is the problem with trying to pick one of these things out, is you finally get your heart set on something. You think that looks cool, that has, checking all the boxes that I want, and then all of a sudden you hear about another one, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that has 10 miles more of range. And next thing you know, you're questioning yourself again. When meanwhile, I haven't even come close to using the range even of my X16, and this has more than it. So why do I care about some other wheel that happens to have more range? It doesn't matter, but because you watch so much stuff and you go crazy, you start thinking it does matter. Then you watch one reviewer who loves the thing and you're like, yes, validated. Then you watch some other one and he's like, oh, it made a weird noise. You're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe not. Maybe I should go with this other one. Then that guy doesn't like it. This guy does like it. When the reality is, you could have just bought the first one and never thought twice about it and loved it the whole time. Because the reality is, every wheel is going to have good and bad things about them. And that's when you have to remember that content creators around these wheels are paid to do that, make content. Wow. And of course, that's me included. However, I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to add electric unicycles to my channel as a new source of content. I am very quickly falling in love with these things. Look at this. Look how beautiful she looks inside that box. Woo, baby. Look at that coil. Man, that is awesome. Now, one good thing I'm seeing here is that this is supposedly way easier to take out of the box. Rather than you removing it outside of this box with InMotion, you take the box off of the electric unicycle, because of that thing being almost 90 pounds, I don't really want to lift that up this high. So you just kind of pinch these. Okay. I'm so excited to get this thing out into the woods and fall on my frickin' face. It's gonna be hilarious. Here we go, guys. Ready? Let's see, grab the handles. Oh my gosh. The big reveal, cue the music. Ooh. You guys didn't see any of that, did you? Look at this bad boy. Man, one thing about this wheel is it looks awesome. And of course, I saw everyone talking about how you got to make sure when you buy these things that you tighten up everything, make sure the bolts are tight and all that. But good thing about buying from a company like eWheels is they go through and check all that. So quality control's already been done. So really what I should have to do is just, put the pads on. The thing should be basically ready to go. Okay, so let's talk about what actually came with the wheel, at least what came with the wheel when I bought it from eWheels. So obviously we have the wheel itself, but we got a lot more stuff here. Inside the package with the wheel, they also gave you these two plates for mounting your pads onto, which they did send me out a set of power pads that came with it. So that's pretty cool. They are InMotion pads. Black, a little bit of orange on them, which I think look pretty awesome. Again, I have never once ever ridden an electric unicycle that had these power pads on them. I'm not sure how I'm gonna like them, but we'll figure that out. So inside the box, you also get this heavy thing, which appears to be a monstrous charger. 134.4 volts, 3 amps. Again, this is another thing where reviews kind of suck, because you watch this and it makes you feel like, well, crap, that's not good enough. It's too big, it's too this, it's too slow, it's too that. Look at this, come here. My unicycles sit right here for 2-3 days at a time. I spent a week and a half wondering if this was a reason not to buy this wheel. The reality is, this thing has all the time in the world to charge. Not an issue. Or to store it, now that might be an issue. And if you're someone that has to take it with them on long trips or something like that, well, I mean, it's definitely a consideration, maybe a third-party charger. Looks like we got some extra bumpers, not entirely sure where these go yet, and a manual. Some of you guys said it didn't come with a manual. It's got a manual. And that's another thing that I learned in the reviews was people were complaining that the screen up top that shows you the battery percentage and the miles per hour, that it wasn't touch anymore like the other InMotion and a lot of other different unicycles have. That's not, the touch screen. Well, when I first saw it, I was super excited about it. And then you start hearing about that and you're like, well, shoot, maybe I need a touch screen. But guess what? My other EUC didn't even have a screen at all. So if I hadn't spent all the time watching reviews, I would have been happy as a clam with this, and I still am. I mean, how much am I gonna really be adjusting on this that I can't just do on the app in a second? Now let's talk about this headlight. In the reviews, you hear people talk about the headlight. Oh, it's not quite bright enough. I start wondering, well, shoot, maybe I need a brighter headlight. Maybe this one isn't okay. And then I remembered, I've never ridden at night. You're gonna be just fine. So then they gave me this little baggie here, and what is in here? It appears to be maybe some spare parts. Yeah, these, I'm not sure what these are quite yet, but we'll figure that out. And then the other bag says it has M5 screws, 3 of those, and Allen wrenches. Now, as part of my collaboration with eWheels, they also sent me out the seat, which I have never once sat on an electric unicycle, so that should be entertaining. And again, I've heard it's slippery, you slide off of it sometimes if you're sitting there talking to buddies. Thanks, why'd you have to say that? I never would have thought that was an issue. You get this waterproof reflective light. I think it actually sticks to the back of the seat. Maybe I'm wrong. And they sent me this out. So here's the deal about me. So I weigh 180 pounds. And this wheel is known for having stiffer suspension, but there is something you can do, a different coil that you can put on this thing that supposedly makes it more plush. And so they sent that out to me here, and so eventually I'll be putting that on, but I want to know the difference, and supposedly this is not it doesn't look like it's a complicated thing to do, so we'll try that as well. Oh, and it also comes with this kickstand, which goes on right here. Okay, it's the next day, and I've messed around with it quite a bit last night, got it all ready to go. Take a look at this. Boom! Look at this thing. We got the kickstand right here, which was super easy to install. Just lays back like that. I put on the pads, and I'm gonna have to probably adjust them a bunch till I get it completely right, but it's at least good enough to get started. Now it's time to jump up on it for the first time, see what it's like. All right, here we go. I'm gonna try to start in this, just not holding on to anything, because that's how I learned to ride. My other unicycle, I found like if I held on to something, it was like way harder. So let's give this a shot. All right, turn it on. The trick is gonna be getting my feet inside this pad here. All right. Oh, ooh, yes, yes, nice. So that was kind of scary. Definitely a lot wider, definitely a lot heavier. Ooh. All right, heart's beating a little bit, but we survived it there and back. Let's do it again. Okay, so this time I actually went a lot further. I went out on the street, turned around, and came back. Let's move the camera. Okay, so I thought I was recording, but I wasn't, which sucks, because I just like totally crashed it when I tried to do my first loop. But basically what I'm gonna try and do is go down the driveway, turn out there, and come back up the curb. Yeah, let's do this. So I'm not really sure how tight these pads are supposed to be between my leg or not. So maybe someone will want to fill me in on that, but okay, I'm terrified. It's definitely a lot wider, a lot heavier. Here we go. All right, just relax, just relax. That part is super awesome, so nice. And all right, good. Now let's turn this way. come back up the curb. Oh, yes. All right. Nice. Okay. Seriously though, how tight do you put these pads to your leg? Are you supposed to have room between them? I have no idea. I feel like they're not there unless I'm leaning forward or trying to brake. Is that the way it's supposed to be? Anyway, my next challenge is try to go around my whole loop around the park. My heart's beating like a million miles per hour. Okay, so here's the deal. Come here. It's definitely going to take some getting used to. I feel like I'm almost trying to learn to relearn how to ride EUC again. I'm not nearly as confident as I was on the X16 in the very beginning because it's just a lot lighter, a lot more nimble machine. So there's two things that I need to know, and if you guys know anything about this, leave it down below in the comments. One is, how are power pads supposed to be adjusted? Should they always be hugging your leg, or are you supposed to have room on both sides of them at all times? I barely even felt my power pads, especially in the front, unless I was like really leaning forward. Then I kind of felt them. So I feel like, but then they're like overlapping. Is that okay? The other thing is the tire pressure. I think it has 35 PSI right now, and it feels, a little bit squirrely. I ride with my X16 at, I believe, like 26, 27, and it's like so much better than when I ride with that thing at 35. But I love the suspension. It is so smooth. I don't notice any stiffness at all. When I go on and off curbs, I mean, I'm 180 pounds. It feels plush to me, but then again, I don't know really what I'm comparing it to. But I never get the feeling of stiffness. Maybe if I put the new shock on, maybe it'll be different. Now, I haven't messed with any of the settings in the app yet. I know there's some serious adjustments you can do in there for assists and all that stuff. Right now, it's just go out there and try a ride for a few minutes and not die. So this was kind of the unboxing first attempt, first impressions video. So far, I really like it, but it is just so different. It's gonna take some time to get used to. Just again, the heaviness, the thickness, how high you are off the ground, all new to me. So the next time you see a video about this, I'll have had it and been riding it for at least 2, maybe 3 weeks, maybe even longer than that. So I actually have some experience with wheel to tell you how I kind of progressed on that over time. But if you're considering getting this wheel and you have questions in the meantime or some advice for me, definitely put it down below in the comments or DM me, and I'd love to chat with you guys about it. Also, not that I'm gonna take your advice on it or anything, but let me know if you guys wanna see more about this kind of stuff on this channel. And you might have already seen it in the video come up now and then, but I'm also reviewing this bike by Highboy. They were sent this out to me, and it is, oh my gosh, so cool. But let me know if you want to see more of this stuff on the channel, because my plan here is to take this thing out into the trails. I can't even go off road, barely on the road right now, but eventually in the trail, and watch me screw up. That's kind of the idea until I start progressing and have fun on these wheels. If you guys want to see this kind of content, let me know. Again, I'll probably do it anyway. See you on the next one.